What is up, YouTube? It's Josh. This is the Den of Nerds. Today's video is going to be all about Batman v Superman, the extended cut. I'm going to give you my thoughts and overall review this cut of the movie. So, in case you weren't aware, DC released the Blu-ray of Batman v Superman, including an extended cut with up to a half hour of extra footage put into the movie. And I want to say right off the top that I was actually not planning on reviewing this or even purchasing it or looking at it, because I disliked Batman v Superman that much. But there were some people online that were saying some really good things about it, and the Justice League set visit coming out at when it did really piqued my interest, and I'm going to circle back around to that thought in just a minute. So my overall thoughts are that it's a much better film. It feels more human. And I remember hearing this one thing that Zack Snyder said when he was being interviewed about Justice League. This came out with the set visits, and he said something along the lines of people do not like their superheroes being deconstructed. And my reaction to that was, what is he talking about? Because I didn't really feel that from Batman v Superman. I didn't feel like they were being deconstructed at all. Deconstruction implies a construct that's established and then taking it apart to find the pieces and figure out if that is if the sum total of the thing is the parts. And I didn't really get any of that from Batman v Superman. It just felt too clanky and the characters didn't really feel real at all. Right off the bat, this movie feels more human. Now, they say that there's a half hour of extra footage going into this film, and you might think that that just adds maybe 20 minutes here, 10 minutes here, or 5 minutes here, and 3 minutes here. But that's not really it. They actually add about 15 seconds, 25 seconds here or there, and they just kind of fill in these little moments that really make it, to me, more of a complete film with good character moments. The first thing that really stuck out is you really feel more for Clark. There is one scene in particular after the explosion at the Senate Hall at the Capitol building. There's this moment where Clark comes out and he's carrying an injured woman from inside the building from the explosion, and he sets her down and he has this awkward exchange with a police officer. Lois is there, she's looking at him, he's devastated, looking around. Because I remember in the theatrical cut, they just show him just take off, and I was like, what? That's crazy. Like, first of all, he's there, this big thing happens, and then he just literally leaves without helping, and it really bothered me. So not only does this scene fix that problem, but it also really humanizes Clark. Like, you really see him like reveling in the just horror that is there, and it's really affecting him. The other big thing that it fixes is you see more of Lex Luthor's plan. The plan actually makes sense, and it all starts with the desert scene, which, by the way, I believe today Warner Brothers put out the first 10 minutes of Batman v Superman online for everybody to see, so you should check that out, and right away you'll see what I'm talking about. But they really explained the desert scene more. There's actual shots of the CIA that is there helping the undercover operation. They show you Superman kind of take out the missile and how everybody in the place is burning the bodies to make it look as though he's coming, and they're really happy when Superman actually shows up. And it really fills out that whole scene more. You understand that the people in the desert are reporting that Superman came in there and killed all these people, which is obviously crazy, but really wasn't explained well in the theatrical cut. So you start off with an entirely better foundation for the film. You also get to see that Luthor is behind the killings that are taking place in prison when the Batman brands people. You get to see that character that's KG Beast, the Russian mobster, making sure that the inmates kill a person who arrives in with a Batman brand. So you see that Luthor's behind that. You also see that Luthor put lead plating into the wheelchair, which encased the bomb that goes off in the Capitol. So you kind of understand that not only could Superman not have seen it, but that Luthor was behind every little detail. It fills out his character more and shows you more of his plan. Now, there are still a lot of problems with the film, especially at the end of the second act and the third act. It does not fix the Martha scene, although there does seem to be a little bit more of a conversation taking place when that happens, but it doesn't fix the scene entirely. But the thing that I think is really, really interesting here, and I want to go back to the Justice League set visit, the timing of all of this seems way too quaint. I think that it was at least talked about, if not thoroughly planned. And it's a credit to Warner Brothers that they're able to kind of turn on a dime so quickly and make these kind of adjustments. Because you think about it, they invited people to the set of Justice League, got people talking about this universe again, and they subtly speak of this 3-hour cut there of Batman v Superman. Then it comes out, and it's really, really more well received. So you got to give Warner Brothers some credit there. However, you have to also, where credit is due, there, you also have to give a shake of the finger where that is earned. And the bottom line is they released this version, the theatrical version of Batman v Superman. They released, and I think they left anywhere from $200 to $500 million on the table, because if this movie would have been more well received, would have gotten a better Rotten Tomatoes score, and been, the word of mouth would have been better from fans, it would have made a lot more money. But instead, they made analytical decisions, cut this film down, and they put it out there. So you have to give them some crap for that, but also you have to praise them for trying to make an adjustment and fix it so quickly. Like I was saying in my other video, Zack Snyder is not at fault for what was the theatrical version of Batman v Superman, because this is a director's cut. This is the cut that he wanted to make. This is the movie he made, and then Warner Brothers made him shave to hit an analytical time window that they thought could help them increase revenue by putting it in more theaters for more showings. So that's kind of my thoughts about it. And I also think that it kind of points to maybe this turn in the state of media. You have to think about this. I was struggling when I was thinking about how much I like this cut of the movie, because I really do believe that the news that came out of the Justice League set visit had an effect on my opinion of this movie. And I was really trying to separate that. I was trying to just look at the movie and see it for what it was. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to the fact that you can't. And that we're in this weird state of media right now where media does not exist in a vacuum. Things like Twitter, things like Facebook, these things exist and inform people who go and watch these sort of films. It's this kind of interesting collision of ideas, old and new. And when I actually went to school for film, and we would always say that you call it a final cut because it is the final cut. When you have a deadline in film school and you have to have an edit ready for that, for that class, the last cut, the final cut that you make is the cut that you turn in. It's the film. So you could argue that the theatrical cut of Batman v Superman is the final cut. But it really isn't, because Zack Snyder cut together this, they released it, it's making buzz right now. People are talking about it. People like it a lot more. So we're at this state where not only do you get an object lesson in filmmaking, because you get to see a different edit of the film and what it meant and what happened to get to the theatrical version that we saw earlier this year, but we also kind of maybe are seeing this change, this rapid change to media itself, where fans and fandom and critics and all of these outside peripheral forces have a major role to play on the media itself, which I find very interesting. So those are basically my thoughts, but let me know in the comment section below. What are your thoughts? Have you seen this cut? Do you plan to? And do you agree with me that the Justice League set visit and everything that came out of that had a really big impact on how well this version of the film had been received? Alright guys, time to check that nerd card. Today's question is going to be a DC question. And the question is, who was the Golden Age Green Lantern? This is the Green Lantern that was before Hal Jordan. This was actually before Oa or the Guardians or any of that lore had been established. What was the name of that Green Lantern? He wore a cape, he fought Nazis. It was really, really cool. All right, that's all for now. I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day. See ya.